Well, Ulysses, it's been a pretty quiet offseason for the Rays and across baseball for that matter, but maybe the wheels are starting to churn as they're bringing back a familiar face, a pitcher at that, a reliever at that.
Everybody was waiting for this domino to fall so everybody else can sign. So let's talk about that guy right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on the socials, X and Instagram. And we are always accepting mailbag questions. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. Or if you just want to hit us up in the DMs, that is fine as well. Well, you know that the offseason has been relatively tame and quiet when the fact that the Rays re-signed reliever Chris Devenski to a one-year deal plus an option is one of the leading stories on MLB.com. It's like fourth or fifth down the list, not too far from the Ohtani Watch sweepstakes. But as we're recording this episode, I suppose news broke that Alex Verdugo, believe it or not, is being traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees. So maybe it is just the calm before the storm. But Ulises, your buddy, your pal, your favorite player, favorite pitcher of all time, Chris Devenski, the righty with the dastardly cambio, will be back in a Rays uniform in 2024 and maybe 2025, and has an opportunity to make some good money with incentives and buyouts and options and all that bottled up into one.
I guess you always have to have that one player in a team that you're really not sold on. I'm not sold on Chris Devenski. I hope I am proven wrong every single day of 2024. Mm-hmm. But just like with Calvin Fauché, I didn't see it. Didn't see it, no matter how many things behind the hood or below the hood or however the peripherals that you showed me. I just did not see it in Calvin Fauché. I don't see it in Devenski. Hopefully he is a little bit more successful than Fauché, but
in fairness, he has been and was in a Rays uniform. I know he's bounced around over the years since starting out really, really strong with the Astros back in 2016 and 2017. But in 9 brief games with Tampa Bay, he did have a 3-2 record and 2.08 ERA. So he did enough in his small sample size with the Rays for them to say, "Yep, we'll go ahead and bring him back." So, I know Calvin Fauché's numbers. He's got. I make this joke before, but it's credit score ERA. There's what is it about Chris Devenski that doesn't have you sold? And it's not like the Rays, just playing devil's advocate here, it's not like the Rays are signing him and saying, "Hey, go be our closer. Go be our superstar reliever." I think they have a role in a void to fill, especially with the exits of lefties, Josh Fleming and Jalen Beeks, that, hey, you got a guy who throws a really good changeup. He can get out lefties. He's a guy who's expressed interest in being stretched out from maybe one inning to a multi-inning or bulk role. He's got a lot of big league experience. He's actually, as much as, frankly, I had never heard of Chris Devenski probably before he arrived in a Tampa Bay uniform, but he is relatively accomplished. He, believe it or not, has an all-star appearance to his name. He has won a World Series ring. He's been on multiple teams now, but clearly there's something that's just not vibing or not checking out for you. And maybe part of it is a little bit of just the way that he was utilized in the playoffs that got you feeling down.
Well, that's what I mean. It was before that, though, because you talk about, like, they're not signing him to be your big reliever and all that. Well, then why are you bringing him in on the highest leverage position in game 1 of the playoffs? Like, they really like this guy. They really like Chris Devenski. It's not like, oh, we'll see what we can do with him. No, they legitimately like what he does. They do. They wouldn't have put him in that situation in the playoffs if they didn't like him, and they wouldn't have brought him back as the first free agent guy that they signed in this offseason if they truly didn't like him. Now, to answer your question of why I don't have a good taste in my mouth, it's because, behind the curtain here, the Devenski signings happened rather quickly before we hit record. So I haven't had time to check this, but I think it's because the inherited runners situation. I feel like, that's a very nice little line that you said with the under 3 ERA. I think you said
2.08, I believe.
208.
Yeah, 208 in 9 games with Tampa Bay.
I would like to see the batters faced in the opportunities that he got with the Rays, and then see the inherited runners, because I feel like a lot of the damage that he provided was he was brought on situations to clean up the mess, and he did not clean up the mess. So his line is clean, but the damage was done. I think that's the problem that I have with Chris Devenski. I haven't had the time to check that out, but I think that's what happened. It's the batters faced to the outs. They're not there. But again, if you're going to trust the Rays organization in one thing, if you're just going to trust them in one single thing that you have to be really specific about, it would be the bullpen. You have to trust them in the bullpen, and he's going to be a side in the bullpen. Possibly, like you said, he could be stretched out. There are some quotes there by Neander that make it really interesting that he could be not only the Rasmussen, but the Springs plus the Zach Littell of the future.
No, there's I think that Neander, by his quotes, he was certainly waxing poetic and praising what Devenski brings to the table. And just reading up on that quickly, he credited his health of late, which is a big factor we know with pitchers, and just his overall competitiveness and experience. I think he said multiple times and throughout the quote chain with Topkin was the competitiveness factor, which is what you need as a reliever for sure. We have more to discuss on this and beyond, but first, Ulises, we have to tell the audience about something very important.
Very important indeed. Sometimes you just have to be prepared. And that's why Jace Medical has the Jace case. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including respiratory infections, skin infections, UTIs, anything among others. So this stuff could happen to any of us. So whether you're on extended travel, bracing for a major weather event, or limited by yet another supply shortage, you will be covered with Jace Medical. Visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. Go to jacemedical.com, that's JASE medical.com, and use offer code LOCKEDON, and you get $20 off your order. You heard right. Use promo code LOCKED on LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order at jacemedical.com.
Now, this signing, interestingly, now puts the Rays at a full 40-man roster. So I guess the intention is not selecting anyone in the major league phase of the Rule 5 draft, which to me is a little bit disappointing because I kind of look forward to that event and activity and see, okay, who's the guy that the Rays are targeting from another organization that, could become something, could develop into something. Furthermore, and tethered into that is there are reports that the Rays might lose not 1, not 2, maybe 3, maybe more guys to the Rule 5. I know Cole Wilcox has been mentioned, Cam Meisner has been mentioned, Shane Sasaki has been mentioned. So it would have to be a quick turnaround for the Rays to make any maneuvers to clear up some 40-man space if they do have desires on selecting somebody in the Rule 5.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's always fun to get, that name, that Kevin Kelly.
Yeah.
You're like, how can this guy fit the puzzle for the next year? Like that is
Brian,
always
what was the guy's name? Brian O'Grady?
Yeah.
I don't know how I remember that. I really thought that guy was going to become something based on his
I don't think
minor
it was
league
Brian,
numbers
though.
and based on the reports and camp and everything.
It was something else, though. It was something else, O'Grady. I don't think it was Brian.
You might be right. That just shows you the impact or lack thereof that he made with the Rays. No, Brian O'Grady. I was right. My memory did not fail me.
Look at that.
There, sir.
Brian O'Grady. Wow. Okay, yeah.
Man, he's had quite a turnaround. Holy cow. Just quick aside here.
Yeah.
You've not looked up his baseball reference page, have you?
No.
In the last moment or two. So I totally forgot that 2020, I guess, is when he was acquired by the Rays, played in, I think, just 2 games before he was traded or moved. He goes to the Padres organization, plays in AAA, gets some action with the Padres, then plays in the Japan League, then plays in the KBO, and now he's, like, as of 2023, was playing independent ball.
Wow.
Talk about just a change in circumstance. Like, you probably, when you get a 40-man roster spot, you're selected in the Rule 5 or acquired, you're thinking, man, here's my chance to really shine and make an impact and make some money and make a name for myself. And a short 2-3 years later, you're playing in, different continents and then independent ball where nobody cares about you whatsoever.
That's why you should never say something like, "Oh, ball players earn too much money." No, you're thinking of, Ohtani and Soto and all these. No, the normal baseball player, the O'Grady's, they make $700K, if that.
Yeah.
That's a whole year. But that guy got paid at that rate for however many games he was in the 40-man roster or active roster. And then that's it. That was his earning potential, and it's gone. It's crazy. It is crazy. I don't think any of us would be able to deal with that in our day-to-day basis. Like, imagine that,
Brian O'Grady starring for Kansas City. Not the Royals, the Monarchs, believe it or not. Wow. The Kansas City freaking Monarchs.
So,
holy cow.
Okay, steering the ship back.
Yeah.
10 outings Devenski had with the Rays, including the postseason. 4 of them, he was facing more batters than outs recorded, and he always let in runs in those 4. So, as a reliever, my man, if you're giving me 60% success rate, that's rough, bro. That's not good.
I'm with you there. I think that beyond that, just his repertoire and what he brings to the table, the Rays are intrigued, which is why they gave him the deal and the option. And I think they're envisioning a different or a variable role with him. Like, I know we talk about the changeup, and he does throw the changeup basically as much or more than anybody in baseball at 56, 57% of the time. But he also has other offerings as well. He can dial up the fastball to 94, 95, 96, and he has another complementary pitch to his name. So I don't know. It's not a super high risk move by any means. It's $1 million, so it's not like, now it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money, but they are sacrificing roster flexibility for the interim. I mean, really, are we in agreement that as of today, the bullpen is pretty much chalked up? It's pretty much set between Fairbanks, Adam, Armstrong, Kittredge, Kelly, Devenski, Poche, Clevenger, Tyler Alexander, Manny Rodriguez, and Colby White. Like, that's who you're riding with You're not bringing back Bob Stevenson, guys.
No. And so I guess that takes out the mystery from how the bullpen's going to look like, which, and part of it is good. It's nice to know what names are going to be playing for that. But you said the money. You're right. The money is really not a thing. I think it's 1.1 guaranteed. The buyout is 100,000. There was a funny thing on X that happened that Topkin put 100, and then people were like, $100 is the buyout.
He was snacking and tweeting, snacking and Xing. Never a good combination. You missed that K.
So he gets up to $3 million in 2025 based on incentives and escalator clauses. So yeah, again, like $3 million total, 1.1 guaranteed. Not huge amounts of money, but I think, like you said, the biggest thing with this is the roster spot more than the money itself.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what happens. I mean, again, it's not the sexiest acquisition, not necessarily the blockbuster that we are expecting or hoping for, but it's something that, the Rays needed a reliever, and they've seen him with their own eyes. They've seen how the other thing we haven't really focused on is how he jives with teammates, how he jives with the coaching staff. Like, I mentioned this briefly, but he's pretty well traveled and has done a lot in his career. I mean, he's had, he's done some things, and I think that experience alone, and his willingness to try new things and do whatever the organization asks of him is a good benefit. I mean, you definitely have to develop some thick skin and some life experience when you go from an all-star and the next great a guy, a fast riser in Houston, and then your career just doesn't go as you expect, bouncing from Arizona to Philadelphia to Anaheim before landing with Tampa Bay and all that he's gone through, basically. Like that does add up at the end of the day.
Yeah, especially in a clubhouse with a lot of young guys and a bullpen that might gear towards younger, even though now you look at it, I mean, Kittredge is not young.
No.
Adam is not young. Fairbanks is a veteran now in MLB. So like Poche as well. Now he's got 3-4 seasons under his belt. So he's definitely ARB eligible. So it's not like it's a group of young kids, but he must have meshed well with them. And you mentioned it at the top with the Neander quote where he said, certainly has the experience of single inning use and has an openness and interest in getting stretched out a little bit. You said this is not a sexy move, but let's make it sexy. If Glass now is gone and your 5 looks like Eflin, Savale, Tosh,
yes,
Boz, I'm forgetting somebody.
Littell. You mentioned Littell. Yeah.
And Littell. Okay. So Eflin, Savale, Littell, Tosh, and Shane. It's pretty thin.
And but Tyler Alexander could be a swingman.
Yeah, it could be after an opener. Sure. Let's, but maybe Devenski now comes into the equation here. Yeah. And then you have Mason Montgomery, who's never pitched in MLB. And then Jacob Lopez. Like, maybe this is a way that they can kind of shore up that rotation that has been decimated by injuries and probably will be decimated even more by their own volition by not wanting to pay $25 million to Tyler Glass now.
Right. That's fair. Yeah. And it could be something where, hey, we're going to stretch you out and try to work with us here until we have some semblance of Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen available. And, maybe Mason Montgomery or somebody else is ready for the show. Yeah. At that point too. So yeah, my inclination, my thought process is, in that brief showing an appearance with the Rays, maybe a change here, a tweak here. And I know he has altered some things with his delivery, wind up in arm slot, but there might be more meat to chew off the bone that the analytics and the coaching staff, the front office says, hey, give us an off season with this guy, and we can really, really do something special with him. So it remains to be seen with all that. I can't believe, we actually spent 20 minutes talking about the Chris Devenski signing It's the offseason, folks, and
And you know why?
that's what we've been handed with at the winter meetings so far. Devenski signings, evidently.
It's because
And
it's
there was the MLB draft lottery, which in some universe, the Rays have the 18th pick. After winning 99 games, they have the 18th pick in the first round of the 2024 draft. MLB is doing some things. They are disincentivizing tanking with all their might.
I'm gonna ask you like what's worse. This is definitely worse. The Oakland A's have that season, and you don't even get number 1 pick, bro.
Hey,
woof!
Don't tank. Be better.
That's
be better,
rough.
Athletics.
Yeah. No, I dig it. I dig it.
And it's not just. There's. I guess I'm not even going to go into the formula and all the wrinkles as part of this draft lottery. I was really kind of unfamiliar with the thing until I heard and found out. I just fully expected that the Rays were going to pick like 28th, 29th, 27th, but no, they had the 18th pick. But it is based upon playoff success, revenue sharing status, luxury tax payroll limits. But hey, take advantage of whatever you can to try to get a top flight draft pick or whatever it may be.
You're more of a draft guy than I am. Yeah. I think wasn't Mikey Matuk an pick 18?
There's been a lot of Mikey Matuk-esque guys picked 18th. The MLB draft is just. I'm
pretty sure Mikey Matuk was like 18 to 22 range. So something good can happen. You can have a Mikey Matuk September. And then take the team, elevate the team to a playoff spot. So that would be nice. But
that's
if you
fair.
Can have a Mikey Matuk September and October, that would be even better. Thanks.
Yeah. So I don't know why I kind of went with the draft lottery stuff. I just saw it offhand and wanted to mention it. But kind of circling back to the 40-man stuff. Maybe not by tomorrow, but this kind of tells me, because I think the Rays are going to have to add a free agent or two. They're going to have to make some moves. There's a lot of limited flexibility right now. And I think they want to, based on some of the tea leaves, getting to the point of let's clear some room so we can give Junior Caminero an opportunity, Curtis Mead an opportunity, guys of that ilk an opportunity. Let's cut off some of the fat here. So I think that's coming sooner rather than later.
You do?
Yeah. Not saying it's happened in the next day or two, but stuff's going to happen. That's why you have the winter meetings, right? For conversations to be had between agents and general managers and front office types and coaches. Like, just throwing it out there.
I don't know. I think the Rays are. The glass now thing unfortunately seems like it's going to happen, because it's so on everybody's tweets or whatever posts. But I think that's it. I think that's the only guy that they're going to move, if anything. I would be very surprised if they move anybody else, because it just doesn't seem like they would be with what they have said since the postmortem. Like, they like that team. Maybe they do. You're right. Mead needs a spot, or you need to trade him. Caminero, are you not going to bring up a spot for a guy who just killed the Dominican League in the month or so that he played in? Like, my goodness, he needs to play, man. He needs to play, and he'll make your team better. So you need those guys to have spots. Jonathan Aranda is like the definition of, hey, Siri, what's limbo? It's Jonathan Aranda.
There's a lot of limbo guys with the Rays, for sure. There have been, year in, year out, that's the case. I think Junior Caminero is going to make the opening day roster based on the Franco uncertainty and the Taylor Walls injury and more trades being afoot. I'm just thinking, this is the Rays. Payroll matters at the end of the day. That they will give away Manny Margot for an expired ham and cheese sandwich.
That I agree with.
They will give away Harold Ramirez for an almost expired gallon of milk.
God, I don't
clear $15 million off the roster.
I so agree with the Margot trade. Harold one, it just, after talking about it for so long, man, especially like last week, man, you can you really, as a Rays offense, just saying, nah, we're good without the offense that Harold Ramirez just prove he can provide for you. Even with the defensive liabilities, even with basically plugging the DH hole for Yandy to not get his rest, I don't know, man. Like, that seems like a wild thing to do. But again, it's the Rays. You can basically do anything and then be like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Rapid fire before we wrap up here. Hey, we got to have some fun on the winter meetings week.
Okay.
On the opening day roster, yes or no? Tyler Glasnow.
Once or thinks?
Thinks.
No.
Margot.
No.
Harold.
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Paredes.
Yes.
Brandon Lau.
Yes.
Aaron Savali.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hit it up in the comments. What do you think?
Yeah, I like
about all of that. Maybe I'm just going too much into a rabbit hole of Topkin tweak or Xing of MLB trade rumors. Like it's almost bad for mental health. It's like a really it's kind of an addictive personality thing of, hey, once I see you're here or get a taste of one rumor, I'm just reloading MLB trade rumors, seeing what's the next headline. Who else is tied to Paredes? Who else is tied to Randy? Who else is tied to Margot and Glasnow? And now I've just gotten to the point where I'm just assuming everybody that I just ratted off is going to be gone.
No, none of that. Probably just Margot, man. But in Glasnow. But that is as toxic as replying to people on X that just spew vitriol and hide behind anime profile pictures.
That is fair as well. Yes. Last thing, Chris Devenski, over under 99 innings in 2024.
For the love of all that is holy, I really hope under.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be under as well. That'd be quite a stretch going from one extreme to the other there. All right. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.